10,000 Lakes Rockhounding.
And today we're going to talk to you about the agates, our first male video, right? So I've separated out the agates. I've pulled some out that I think are good candidates for tumbling, and so that's what we're going to show you today. Rock tumbling, it takes a really long time, and all of the results are at the end. So with that being said, we're going to show you up until the end of step one. This is the step where the most people abandon rock polishing, and I don't want that for you. I want to show you that you can be successful. I'm going to show you some difficulty we had because your rocks might not come out the first run the way that you want, and that's okay. You're going to learn too, just like we have.
To get started polishing rocks, you're going to need some rocks, some water, plastic pellets, step one grit, and I happen to be using 2 tablespoons of this grit because I only have about a pound of rocks. Pour your water just over the top of the rocks. You don't want them covered. This was probably too much. This is our rock tumbler. We have a Lortone 33B. You can put 2 3-pound drums on this machine. It's wonderful. So after tumbling for 2 weeks in stage 1 grit, this is what we're left with. I'm only going to show you a few. I'm thinking of putting these right back into stage 1, all of them. I was going to pick through and take the ones out that tumbled the best, but it just looks like I might need to try a different type of grit. The small rocks are doing really well. Not all of them need to go back into stage 1. Some of them are looking really nice. I decided I wanted my rocks a little smoother, so I threw everything back into the tumbler with step 1 grit, water, plastic pellets, and tumbled for 10 more days. I think you'll notice that these results are quite a bit more noticeable. Okay, this grit stuff, you never want to let this go down your drains. It's so bad for your plumbing. It's like concrete. Just don't do it. Don't let it go down the drain. You should really have a method for handling this wastewater before you get to the rinse out step. I recommend checking out Rob over at Michigan Rocks. He's got a slick system. I know that this is a stromatolite. Otherwise, I don't know what any of these agates are called. I know they all have special names. I bought a couple books that I think are going to help me identify them, and we'll talk about that in another video. All right, folks, here we find ourselves at the most fun part of tumbling, brushing our rocks. We have to do this to get rid of all of the extra grit that might be hiding in the little crevices of these rocks. It's definitely going to make for bad tumbling. Listen, you don't need to get Snoopy toothbrushes. You can just use whatever you have, but this makes it a lot more fun, you know? Do you see these pits here? This is where grit gets stuck, and we really want to make sure we brush these out. So after I washed all my rocks, you can see that this grit is what was washed off the rocks. Now it doesn't, sorry about that guys, doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean, that would make less shiny rocks. So you need to make sure that your barrel is super clean. All right. Man, look at how pretty those are. All right, here's where it gets interesting. I always take an extra step and I put my rocks back into the clean tumbler with some water and I let them rinse, a rinse tumble. And so I'll do that for maybe an hour. Here we are after the rinse cycle. As you can see, the water came out pretty dirty after only an hour, so I think this is worth our time. This is the end of step 1. This is the hardest step and the longest step in my opinion. Keep your eyes out for video number 2 as we walk you through step 2, 3, and the polishing.